scene here in Prague, could you describe it? Like as I said, we know of companies like AVG, some strong successes, but it seems it's the startup scene that's really still yearning to grow.
Definitely. So AVG is one of the greatest successes, followed by Avast, which is also a Czech company. Together they have about 400 million active users together, and they are the two unicorns we have, you know, the billion-dollar companies. But these guys came into being in the late 80s, early 90s, well before the Czechs actually appreciated the phenomenon of startups and technologies in general. So the industry is relatively young, I would say. I mean, I brought the term here in 2009 from Silicon Valley, and many people would ask me, what is startup? So also the appreciation for the needs of startups is still relatively low, but I think that also because of EU funding and successes of other startups, we've had a couple of really successful exits, such as Cognitive Security, again from the security space. Not only civil servants, but also general public are more and more becoming appreciative of what successful startups can bring to the Czech Republic.
You mentioned there earlier on during the presentations that the word entrepreneur still has not the greatest connotations here in Czechoslovakia, or Czech Republic, sorry, but that's slowly changing. What is the attitude really like towards the new kind of entrepreneurs, the digital entrepreneurs, and what's the attitude like towards failure?
Totally right. The attitude, or the word entrepreneur still has a bit of a negative connotation, and when I use the word in Czech, sometimes I actually use a bit of a different word, which is a lot to do obviously with 50 years of communism, during which entrepreneurship was illegal, and then during the crazy 1990s and early 2000s, when many so-called entrepreneurs really can be considered crooks and thieves. This attitude is slowly but surely changing, I'd like to think, and it's again as a result of the success of people like Jan Řeža from Social Bakers, who is 27, 28 years old. He never even finished his high school, and he raised 34 million euros in funding, and he has served as a great inspiration for many. And what you can definitely see is that also media that is not necessarily interested in technology or startups now write on a regular basis. So it really is getting to the people.
And in terms of like out of the various pitches today, only two were by female-led companies. You mentioned there as well that in your view the number of female tech founders is disastrously low, to quote you. But do you see that changing, and what needs to be done to change that?
Admittedly, unfortunately, I have not come across any new female entrepreneurs in the digital space. What I can see, actually, currently, two of our designers are having their Indiegogo campaigns, or crowdfunding campaigns. One is on Indiegogo, one is for sex toys, and the other one is for refillable bottles. But in the digital space, you don't see it as much. I'd like to think that it's changing somewhat as well. It's definitely more female engineers at the Czech Technical University, for example. So I would like to think that it's going to translate into more female entrepreneurs in the near or not so distant future. But admittedly, I would imagine that as much as Czech women are relatively emancipated, I mean, there was no concept of housewives during the socialist times. Everybody had to go to work. At the same time, we are quite traditional, and women are not encouraged to be interested in technology, and that's to do also with the education of the society and the parents. So I suppose that needs to change too.
Well, I suppose as you see more examples of success come true, girls will inspire other girls.
Yes, but admittedly, I cannot think of a single relatively successful digital female entrepreneur that has come out of the Czech Republic in the recent years. I mean, what you get the kind of top women in high tech. That's usually Tania Lemon, that is the head of Czech Google, and then the female entrepreneurs. What you see is women from more traditional industries. For example, those that inherited their family companies and then brought them back to life. But from the digital space, I can't think of a single female entrepreneur that has made it, so to speak.
But would you be very optimistic though that the times we're in, the companies we saw today, that this is something that's growing and you're going to see more and more? So maybe a lot of these problems we perceive will iron out over time.
We just need to be patient. I mean, we are at the very, very start. I mean, patience is definitely one of my greatest virtues, and sometimes I have to pinch myself, especially because of my Silicon Valley experience. But when you compare Silicon Valley or the more established markets, even if it's Ireland or London or Berlin, like I said, the word startup didn't pretty much exist back in 2009. design, and it's only 6 years ago. So we are at the very start, and I would like to think that the future looks rather promising for us.
Great.